Hey everyone, I'm ready to go. Glasses on, gospel open. It's rich. It's a big miracle that happens here. So let's get started. John chapter 6, verses 1 through 15. Jesus went across the Sea of Galilee. A large crowd followed him because they saw the signs he was performing on the sick. Jesus went up on the mountain, and there he sat down with his disciples. The Jewish feast of Passover was near. When Jesus raised his eyes and saw that a large crowd was coming to him, he said to Philip, "Where can we buy enough food for them to eat?" He said this to test him, because he himself knew what he was going to do. Philip answered him, 200 days' wages worth of food would not be enough for each of them to have a little. One of his disciples, Andrew, the brother of Simon Peter, said to him, "There's a boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish, but what good are these for so many?" Jesus said, "Have the people recline." Now there was a great deal of grass in the place, so the men reclined, about 5,000 in number. Then Jesus took the loaves, gave thanks, and distributed them to those who were reclining, and also as much of the fish as they wanted. When they had their fill, he said to his disciples, "Gather the fragments left over, so that nothing will be wasted." So they collected them and filled 12 wicker baskets with fragments from the 5 barley loaves that had been more than they could eat. When the people saw the sign he had done, they said, "This is truly the prophet, the one who is to come into the world." Since Jesus knew that they were going to come and carry him off to make him king, he withdrew again to the mountain alone. There are a lot of typographies from the Old Testament with Moses and Jesus in the New Testament. This is also the multiplication of the bread and the fish that precedes really the Eucharist at the end of the day, the bread of life discourse, as we call it in the Catholic Church. I am not going to get into that on this vlog. What I am going to get into is how this gospel should help you in your life, living and trusting in God. God fed everyone. He didn't pick and choose who was going to have food. As a matter of fact, there were 12 baskets. No coincidence that the number 12, the 12 tribes, were collected, filled with bread. Plenty left over, but nothing was wasted. So the point here, the little boy could have easily said, "Jesus, I don't think I want to give you my 2 sardines and my 5 barley loaves because, we should just split it amongst ourselves. Maybe Andrew and Philip can come in and that should be enough for us, but there's no way you're going to feed 5,000 men." But he didn't. He gave them to Jesus. And Jesus fed everybody. Jesus feeds all of us, especially when we're the most hungry. Especially when we don't know what our offering is going to produce. We don't know if it's going to bear fruit or not. We don't know if smiling at that person or helping that gentleman in his car or whatever act of love that we are doing to our neighbors and our brothers and sisters on this planet, sharing the word of God, sharing our faith, we don't know what fruit that's going to bear. All we need to know is that God meets us in the ordinary places in our lives, where we are in the ordinary days. You do not have to go to the temple to find him. That was the point of this particular New Testament. I'm out here on a mountain, hanging out on the grass with 5,000 men in ordinary lives, and I am feeding every single one of you, says Jesus. So remember, You don't know what your offerings to Jesus are going to turn out to be. And trust and have faith that he will always be there, will always meet you, especially when you're the most hungry. Trust in him. He is God. I'm going to leave it at that. Offer Jesus your love, and you will have no idea what fruit it will bear. Alrighty. I tried to make this short. I could have gone on and on and on with this one, but I decided that I just wanted to pinpoint some of the major aspects of living the gospel today, trusting in the Lord, and you never know what your offerings will bear. So, as always, have a blessed and inspired week.